Welcome to the Globetrottin ADs. This podcast is for you, athletic directors, activity coordinators, coaches, and program associates based in international schools around the world. The Globetrottin ADs is proudly hosted by Nick DeForest from the American International School Vienna and Matt Fleming from the American International School of Budapest. Here they are now, Nick and Matt and the Globetrottin ADs.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Globetrottin ADs. We're all on holiday now, but we thought we'd get together one more time before the end of the year and talk about something that's cool that's coming up, which I think all of our listeners and our international school community folks will be interested. Today, we're talking about the Globetrottin Athletes Network. And we're going to have some information about something cool that's coming up and information about how you can partake in it. So before we get into it, I'll throw it over to Nick. Nick, you're in Vienna. I'm here in the U.S., back home for the holidays. It's good to be back, but how'd you make it back to Vienna okay?
Yeah. After the conference, it was a different world coming back to a bit of a lockdown. And I'm back here in my basement. Nothing too exciting, but we had our fun. But we want to talk about the Globetrottin Athlete Network, something the four of us have been working hard on, and actually we realized we have never done a pod on it, so I think it's a bit overdue. We got the two other main guys, Dave and Chris, with us today. So, hey guys.
Hey Nick, hey Matt, Dave.
Yeah.
Morning.
Yeah. Well, the Globetrottin Athlete Network is out there. We have schools signed up. We have content going on, and but it's just starting to get going, right? So let's use this opportunity to kind of explain a bit more, and people can hear directly from us, and then hopefully check it out on their own, right? Chris, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about GAN or whatever how we would pronounce it.
I don't think we've decided, right? GAN.
No, I don't think so.
GAN. I like
GAN.
GAN.
Okay, so GAN or Globetrottin Athletics Network. It's a bit of a one-of-a-kind network for international school student athletes, right? It's an opportunity for us to bring all these kids together, and for them to be able to access, some content or promoting leadership or education, scholarship opportunities, anything and everything that they can help them with their path onto becoming a better athlete. The great thing I think about it is it's content from kids around the world or athletic students around the world. So, when your school joins the GAN or the GAN, your schools can submit their athletic profiles. And it's great because we get to hear about different kids. I know Matt submitted a couple. Dave's got one for basketball. There's just different interesting things happening with kids all around the world. And what's awesome is, Hubie, if I think it's Matt, Hubie is the swimmer who then participated in the Olympics. I mean, what an opportunity for our kids anywhere in the world to hear and learn from a student who's participating in as a senior is in high school, but then also training and participating in Olympics. Like, yeah, that's crazy amazing, like really amazing. So.
And then the pandemic, it was a heck of a story.
Yeah, during the pandemic too, right? Because we always hear about these kinds of kids, but it's even more interesting to learn from them, and that's exactly what student athletes can do, but also us as professionals can do as well. Like, how do we better support these kids? And then the other part, I think, is the third piece is the leadership from professionals and world leaders, right? Hearing for Sebastian and hearing his story, I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what, that was an incredible story. And just others that we've already got on there, right? And learning from them and working out kind of how they got to where they got to and what the commitment level really is, and just opportunities to learn. And I think that's what GAN brings to the world community.
Well said, Chris.
So this idea of who's it for, well, Chris kind of alluded to it there. Students, the idea of peer interactions, no matter where you are in the world, you have an opportunity to learn from each other, to share with each other. share your story of your program and what you're doing personally and with your team, or if you're an individual athlete, like we were talking about Hubie earlier. What does it look like for you in terms of training, nutrition, going to school, and then going to an Olympic Games? But also, like, I think with the content, we're kind of multifaceted, right? We're not just about sharing those 1% athletes that are going to go to the Olympics. We're also looking at how do we take skills that we're going to learn through sports and put them into our real world jobs after university, or even when we go to university. So you'll start to see that through the content is how do we take that knowledge, how do we take those skills and then put them into our real world jobs. The idea that students can be involved in CAS projects around GAN, I think is super exciting, and something for those student athletes, those students who come to school, not just to learn, but also to be part of teams and to be part of leadership experiences. I think it's really great for athletic directors to have an opportunity to meet with each other, to have conversations, to share best practice, to have more interaction with the athletes. Like, I know for me as a athletic director, I'm not always on the ground in all the practices. I don't get to see all the students all the time. So it's really great to kind of learn what's going on around the world, not just in my own practices. For the coaches to learn from specialists, to get your students noticed even, and then, like I said, to share best practice. And then for us to take that to our communities, to share with our parents, this is what we're doing. This is how we're sharing your student's story. This is how we're sharing the story of our program and of our school, and not just within our own little bubble, but globally. So I think it's a really great opportunity for schools to get on board as member schools and to start sharing that content.
Right. Yeah, that's it, right? Sharing stories, content creators. It's awesome. And, you know, when I tell people about it, they're like, what, that? You're doing that too? Like, where did that come from? How do you guys have time for all this? And I think where the idea was born is kind of an interesting story. Is our student-led conference last year, which was awesome, and coming up again. You know, I was talking to Sebastian Bellin about being on and being a keynote speaker. And he said, of course, that's a great idea, but let's look bigger. What about something year round, so kids don't just have a one-off conference, but someplace they can go and get all that great info anytime they want it, right? And contribute anytime they want it. So if they have a project ready in September, they can publish it. They don't have to wait for this one-off conference. And that's really where it came from. It was, Seb's idea to extend the student-led conference. So it was great. It's great to have him on board. Hey, Matt?
Yeah, and the way we're going to be running it this year is going to be similar to how we've done it in the past. Last year was great the way it worked out. We were really overjoyed with how much participation there was, the outreach we had globally with all the students taking part. So the way we're going to run it this year is going to be very similar to how we did it last year. It's very simple to log into and join the rooms that will be available for the different workshops. So that'll be ran by us four. So Matt, Dave, Chris, and Nick, plus Maggie Van Oosten and Seb from our other partners from GAN, who'll be assisting and running it on that day.
Yeah, and Maggie isn't just in the background, right? She's got a content piece up there. So Maggie's a great addition to provide content, help direct GAN, and not just be behind the scenes. So cool to be able to get to know her and have her on board.
Yeah, another voice.
Yeah. Dave, what you mentioned about how you're using it a little bit. Can you tell us a bit more, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's been kind of interesting just hearing feedback from various different schools, and then what we're doing in our school comes back to that idea of like, how are we getting what we're doing out to our community and then to other communities around the world, and how are we sharing it? How do we get that global reach? I think there are various different options for schools when they become a GAN partner. You could either have all of your students have access to all of the content, and you can do that by sharing an email address. They get a login and they get to go and access all of that content all of the time whenever they want to. So that's one way that I've seen schools are using it. The other way is you have selected students, perhaps in the athletes council, which is what we do at our school. We have those students with access to all of the content, and then we have evenings where we'll get popcorn, some juice, and we invite other students to come and watch either the keynotes or one of the shorter content pieces like the student profiles, and then have discussions around what you learned while you were watching that. So I think there's a few different ways that schools are using the program. For us, it's a smaller group of students that have access, and then having discussions around that in a larger forum. I really want to get sort of into this idea that when schools do become members, it's an opportunity for them to become creators, so they can share things from their school too. And for us in my athletics council, we learn by learning from others. And so, watching those content pieces, sharing how that fits within our school and our situation, that's been really great for us.
Yeah, building relationships, school to school, when you see someone from another school up there. And it's also, we have a relationship with the Challenged Athletes Foundation. That's our charity partner. We're not a nonprofit, not yet, but maybe doing some work to get there. The business back end side isn't as easy, and not really for the four of us, right? No experience in that end. But yeah, the Challenged Athlete Foundation is great. They're going to be content providers and help us and maybe be an avenue for clubs at your school, right? You could raise money and have a CAF club as well. They do some great stuff for challenged athletes, and Seb is a main spokesman for that.
Coach Evaluator is the premier coach evaluation software for schools and athletic organizations and preferred coach evaluation solution of the NIAAA and the Positive Coaching Alliance. The system is completely customizable with an always growing evaluation template library for athletic directors to reference. There are not only evaluations for ADs to use, but also self-evaluations and parent-player evaluations of coaches. Learn more about digitizing and simplifying your coach evaluation process by visiting www.coachevaluator.com. Mention Globetrottin ADs to receive a $200 discount on the yearly rate.
Kukri are a global multi-sport clothing brand specializing in providing the world's most prestigious schools with bespoke made and designed team uniforms for students of all standards and abilities. If you are frustrated by inconsistent colors, branding, costs, and sizing across your school's uniforms, then it's time to discuss an offering where every sport is available from softball to soccer for male and female athletes at rates to suit your budget. To find out how Kukri could elevate the apparel of your student athletes to a professional level, email the team at contact@kukrisports.com. A dedicated sales manager will offer you a quote today. Mention this ad and receive a special offer on your coach or PE staff order.
All right, so probably a lot of folks are wondering what kind of content is up there now on the GAN website. So if you go there now, you can see there's different presentations, interviews, essays, keynotes. And the topics include things such as leadership, wellness, motivation. Chris McCollum, he's an international school teacher and coach. He's developed his own leadership program. He's got some information there. Ben Fagan, who's a college baseball player and motivational speaker, is there, as well as Erin Marsh, who some of you might remember. She's an amazing resource for us. She's an international school PE teacher and nutritionist out of Brussels, and she's got some really great information about nutrition and how it relates to being an athlete.
Yeah, and it's just anything and everything, right? That's just a brief kind of examples, and I think we want that kind of content from the students too, right? Any kind of idea that
sure.
they have. Yeah.
What's working, what's helping.
Right. Chris, it hasn't been an easy start, I would say, with some technical things and COVID. How do you see the year one?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else, but I, for one, first and foremost, don't want to blame COVID, because I think that's just an excuse for a variety of different things. So I think even for our school, we're still trying to work out how to use it and how to push it out into my athletes. So I've shared it with my athletics council, and then we'll slowly get it out into our bigger communities. But obviously, with a lot of other challenges going on, its timeframes have been pushed back a little bit. So I don't think COVID's actually necessarily been a setback, more so that we've had a lack of programs and things happening around the world. So it's harder for us all to share experiences of what's going on right now within our communities. Maybe that's because, particular coaches aren't there right now, or the kids aren't in programs and it's hard for them to share. Or maybe it's just that, everyone's online all day, every day, and it's hard to get them online again just to get something else recorded. But I think we're good. I think we can call it a soft opening and that we're ready to get going. I know that everyone I've talked to about GAN is super excited. So I'd like to think that, we've just had a long, soft opening, and then right now we're just ready to get into it and excited to share the content and everything that we have online. I think that's the way we should look at it.
Yeah, and it's a good base, right? And I think moving to the future, can only expect more great content, great keynotes, and the one thing, like you just alluded to, Chris, is the student content, right? There's not as much student content on there. That's something we want to get, we want to share what our kids are doing. So we're looking forward to that. I know there's a podcast is in the works from one of Scott's students in Dubai that hopefully will come up in early in the new year as one kind of example. But I think anything and everything can be posted, and just let us know, right? Also, we'd like to get some more member schools too.
All right, so how do you join? If you're interested in joining our conference, first, the easiest thing to do is go to our website and contact us. That's www.globetrottinathletesnetworks.com, which you'll see here in the link. And some of our founding member schools, which are taking part in this, we have AIS Vienna, of course, AIS Budapest, International School of Bangkok, International School of Belgrade, Dhaka is there, International School of Brussels, Dubai, Singapore American School, AIS Moscow. We're going on to South Africa and Johannesburg. They're a member as well, and as well as ICS Zurich. So a pretty good spread, and we're always looking to engage more schools and spread the good word and get more kids involved, more coaches involved, more athletic directors, so we can all just keep learning from each other and seeing what's out there.
Yeah, and excited to get a couple more after those founding members, a couple more schools that joined this year, and IS Kenya, AIS Israel, the EA Brasilia, and another EA Rio de Janeiro. So we're moving around the world and hoping to add to the list, right? But conference is coming up. Chris, Dave, I think that's the next big thing, right? Now that we've survived our conference in Denver, the student conference is the next big thing. How's that going?
Yeah, I think that's where this all sparked from, right? We had a really good uptake for that conference, lots of students sharing lots of great things, and then from that came the conversation, well, why don't we do this throughout the year? And why don't we make this be something that students can come back to over and over again? I think it's great that we've got all of the videos from last time's conference, so if students are interested in going and looking at what was shared over the last conference, they've got an opportunity to go and watch all of those videos, or at least just see the content, the names of the various topics that were shared, to give them an idea of what they want to do.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. It's great. I think it's a real opportunity, and I think we learnt last year that the kids that presented or stepped out of the comfort zone and took a chance on it really enjoyed the conference, not only presenting but also attending. I think we knew that in some part that's what would happen, but I think the amount of response that we got from, in particular in my school, was really positive, and I'm really excited that again the kids get an opportunity to jump into this. They get an opportunity, right, to present in real time about something they're really interested in. In real time they get an opportunity to get some feedback and some questions. And again, it comes back to something that I know it's at the heart of it for all of us is that it's kids for kids or student athletes for student athletes. And I know that's what drives us for everything that gets done. And I think this is just another way for us to really push that out and say, hey, kids, or hey, athletes, you are the most important things that we have in our schools, and we want to give you this opportunity to try and do something that others aren't doing, and to share your knowledge or share what you love and what your passions are. And I think that's the greatest thing about, the student-led conference, or the podcast or the GAN. It doesn't matter what it is. I think every time we pump something out there, it's got to do with kids, and I think that's what everybody needs to remember.
And it also, Chris, comes back to those soft skills that we were talking about before, the idea of working collaboratively, to be a good teammate, to find a subject that you're going to share with somebody else, the idea of building public speaking skills. Then there's all the technology work that goes on in the background just to make it work for that day. I think that was one of the things that came out of the last conference, that when I was running the room and talking to some of the teacher mentors and the students that were in the room preparing for their sessions, and just the amount of, back-end work that went into just putting that 45-minute session together. You don't really realize it, but you're actually putting real-world skills into effect there. Like the idea of putting together a content piece, all the technology behind it, working collaboratively with a team, and then producing something that you're really proud of at the end.
Yeah, and I think the conference that we just all attended, I think we got some learning out of that. Just one idea that maybe just throw out there as well, right? Like Nick and Dave, you presented workshops, and you presented workshops with people that you'd never met before. So if you've got a student in your school that's really interested in a topic and really feel like they've got nobody else, hey, email us, let us know, and we'll put a call out looking for someone interested in the same topic or wanting to present on the same topic. We'll get you together, and you're much better at technology than that we are. And I'm sure that you can work out. And I mean, how cool would it be to have two presenters from two different continents or schools presenting at the conference this year? I think that's, that might be something that we want to shoot for as well.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. Absolutely. Yeah, then you're not working on it by yourself, right? Like I had a girl work on it by herself, and she told me she would have loved to have someone to bang the ideas off that wasn't me, Yeah, great stuff.
Right. So we're getting excited. We'll close out this year and hopefully close out our experiences with our ups and downs of the last year and a half, 2 years, and we'll move forward in 2022 with some positive outcomes and inching our way back towards normal, hopefully. And we hope that this online conference, will be a way of folks to do that. And again, sharing new ideas, making connections, which is what we're really all about, and just spread the good words of educational athletics in international schools. So looking forward to it again. Looking forward to partaking, working with you guys and the rest of the GAN crew, and seeing what new topics and new presentations will form out this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I just want to say something right at the end here. This is probably the first 28 minutes of my life that I've been with you guys, and we haven't laughed once in that time.
So there you go. We can end on a laugh then.
Yeah, where did it go wrong?
Well,
yeah, what happened? Thumbs down right here.
Yeah, well, I wasn't recording when we were talking about your hair at the beginning, Chris. So that was
that was funny.
I think we're all four of us already on the naughty list, so I don't know what we're trying to make up for.
Well, with that, let's slide into the new year, as they say in German. Guten Rutsch into the new year. There you go. Thanks, guys.
Until next week, this has been another episode of the Globetrottin ADs.